Welcome to Larp Academia. Today, we're going to talk about V9. Now, for casting classes, they're a little bit different. It's on a basis by basis where they already have options, but some classes are actually pretty good with some minor flaws that need to be addressed for game balance and other things. Some classes are... The class that I'm thinking of is Bard, more than any. Now, while Wizard and Healer have some issues in certain areas, Bard's kit revolves around Combat Caster. If you see our level 6 video on Bard, I will talk about how the frequency of Bard is offset by Combat Caster. You only have a few things, but you're able to cast them while fighting. You are able to switch between your songs, which are unlimited, and you're able to play a Bard actually in an interesting way where it's pretty powerful. And all of this is based around your 6th level ability, Combat Caster. If you don't have that, you can't really play a Bard, which is ridiculous. You should be able to play a Bard without jumping through leaps and hoops. Or you know what I mean. A Wizard is able to cast verbals and actually have frequency and spell balls at level 1. A Druid can support their team in various ways at level 1. A Healer can support their team in various ways at level 1 that are actually kind of core to their class identity. Bard can be an advanced peasant. So we need to address the issue of leveling Bards. Not necessarily level 6 as much, but when leveling, there's some problems. One is that your equipment is way too high for the levels that it gets. Why are you getting a medium shield at level 5? Why are you getting a small shield at level 3? You're supposed to be the class that goes out there with armor and weapons and fighting a few spells here and there, being like a versatile caster, but also more melee orientated. So therefore, logically, you as a Bard get your equipment way later and at a worse price, right? That doesn't make any sense. It needs to be brought down in level, and it needs to be brought down in equipment cost. Armor, if it's 4 points, means that you can't do anything else for that level. And some people may say, oh, well, that's a good exchange. No, it's not. No, it's not, because you're saying, why aren't you playing a martial class? You'll get better options. So it should be brought down to 3 points of magic. And I would even argue that since Bards need short swords more than any other class, they really can't do much without a short sword due to the frequency, the low frequency of their spells until they get Dervish. They should have short swords be 1 point, armor is 3 points. The shields drop down from small shields it could be even first level, honestly, but it should at least be second level. And medium shield should be third level for 2 points. It should not be 3 points. I don't know why that was decided. That's absolutely ridiculous. Those are essential pieces of a Bard, and they should be dropped down. Now, aside from dropping down the equipment cost and the level required for each equipment, this problem still remains that Bard revolves around Combat Caster. In order to actually play a Bard, you need Combat Caster. Otherwise, you're playing a gimped class, which is far less powerful than every other class. Far less powerful, far less options. You are not able to play as the class is designed and intended to be. So, while this may sound drastic, in order to fix this, there are only really 2 options that we have. Either one, we need to do a complete rehaul of the Bard class, which is absolutely ridiculous and kind of what we don't want for V8 or for V9, because it allows for a lot of problems to be placed into the game, and it could be worse than Barbarian. I mean, it could be worse than the current Bard. It could be too overpowered. We don't want that. So the second option that I have is to make Combat Caster a first level ability 1 point because it is essential. You might be thinking, wow, Wizo, that's ridiculous. I ask you to consider the power of Bard at level 1. What is a Bard able to do currently? Well, they're able to take 2 short swords and sing a song that makes them not as good as a Barbarian. Okay. What about level 2? Well, they're able to get armor or a few spells and then be done for the entire 30-minute game. Okay, that's pretty crappy. What about level 3? Well, they're able to kind of think that they have options, but when they get a shield and they actually get some other songs and they get some other things, they're still not really able to play the game. They're barely able to be the equivalent of a level 1 class, maybe. Okay, that's a little harsh, but what about level 4? You go into level 4 and this keeps going. It's terrible. They're terrible compared to every other class at their level until level 6. So Combat Caster fixes this and makes it so that they are not even equal. That's why they need a drop in cost for equipment and the drop in equipment level. Only then will they be able to do what they want, not able to cast consistently, still with the idea of a bard, because most of their spells are per refresh, which means that the idea of combat caster with bard is not overpowered, because if most of your spells are per refresh and they're one time and done, you don't have that many that you're able to use anyway. It just allows you to cast a few times while fighting, which is kind of what's intended in a bard, and you do get to song hop, which is necessary. Now, two other things that should happen for a bard, I know there's a few things for it, is that they should have heal. I don't know why they don't have heal. They've had in pretty much every version previous. Bards in every other game have heal. Why not give them a second, or even if you want a third level heal? They should probably have it on par with the Druid, but you know, second or third level heal once per life, 1 point once per life. Okay, fine. And the last thing is that Song of Interference should not be charged ×5. Why is that? I don't know. They may think, oh, Enlightened Soul is powerful. Yeah, so are your other songs. But it doesn't solve every issue. It's not the, oh, I'm immune to magic. No, because you still have to worry about spell balls, and you still might want to sing Song of Freedom, and Song of Interference should not be charged ×5. It should be unlimited, like every other song. Now, Druid. The problems with Druid are that, no other class is as powerful as it, really. Let's be honest here. And if you go for a 30-minute game, as the refreshes are intended, then they're actually pretty good and kind of balanced. And if you go on a small field, well, monks can counter you now, and other classes actually have a bit of an option, so they're balanced instead of being gods. Druids are actually really good where they're at. They might want to change some spells a little bit, maybe add a few more options, but that's kind of how it is with every casting class. You might want to change a few spells and add some more options, some more green, possibly orange and blue spells instead of changing gray and red out there. But, I mean, Druid's really good where it's at. What do you want me to say? Healers are also pretty good where they're at when you consider a large battlefield and the most powerful class in the game. But there's a problem. When you go to a small field, healers are unplayable. Now, the reason why I say this is, well, partially for experience of other people, them telling me this, and also saying it as a healer myself. You have Swift. Great. You're out of Swift. You're basically out of your heal spells and resurrects now. The reason being is that heal and resurrect are so long, and most of the healer kit is meant around charging. You need to be protected by your teammates in order to actually play a healer. And on a small field, you can't be protected by people all the time. You don't have a wall of people in front of you. You might have 2 or 3 people, and all it takes is one mistake, one's down, the whole team's down, you're dead. And you can't really contribute. You're there to deal with the aftermath and help your team after some people have died, have been hurt or whatever, and you can't really do that when your whole team dies. So healers on a small field are hot garbage. They're trash. They're terrible. I'm sorry. I love you healers. I love playing a healer, but even I've realized this, where on a small field, healers need some work. Now, the easiest way to address this is to give them an archetype at 6th level. Healers have been asking for this one thing for a while. This one thing that will allow them to actually fight, that will allow them to not just die and be the same and have the same durability as paper, and that is to give them a point of armor. Now this archetype, War Medic, makes it so that it's 2 points, and for those 2 points, you are unable to use enchantments, which is pretty big for healers, but you are also able to wear up to 1 point of armor. Now, healers could decide, oh, I'm even going to wear this in a big battle game, and yeah, sure, then you're not taking enchantments, so you're not helping your team, which is also pretty good. I mean, if you have a backline healer who has Resurrect, Innate, and all that other stuff, and they have a bunch of Blessing Against Wounds, imagine this. You get Resurrected, and you get a Blessing Against Wounds. That's pretty good. That's actually what I've seen some healers do, and it's really powerful, to be honest, especially when you have a bard doing restoration. Oh my god. But taking away the ability to use enchantments makes it so that it does hurt the healer. It doesn't cripple them, but it does hurt them. And I would recommend also for warcasters, another limitation may not be taken in conjunction with priest. That might be a better limitation, but this is kind of an ongoing thing for figuring out which is the best limiter to War Medic, because if you aren't able to take priest, then it also discourages it in big battle games. It does also kind of discourage it in small battle games though, so I don't really know if that's the best option. I'd stick with it not being able to take enchantments. It's a pretty big drawback, but for 2 points, being able to wear 1 point of worn armor, it solves the problem of healers on a small field. They are actually able to defend themselves, and it just makes it so that they're able to have different play styles too. If you want to be a regenerating warrior, hey, you can kind of do that. You're still a priest pretty much in robes with 1 point of armor. It's not the same as a scout or even close to a paladin, but still pretty good. Now, the one other thing for healer, this is just an option that we should kind of add for them, is that healers have also been asking for a ranged heal. We have the means to do this. It's pretty obvious. Spell Ball. We can make Holy Bolt. Now, around level 4 is when healers gain a lot of their choice options. Up until level 3, it's more of the essentials of what you need to really be a healer. But at level 4, you get to customize your kit a little bit. And that's also when you can get Greater Heal. Greater Heal once per life. Why not give them a ranged heal? Holy Bolt would be orange spell ball, pick a color, whatever. And you charge it, you throw it at someone, and you're able to heal them. Potential problem with Holy Bolt and with a ranged heal spell ball like this is that if you make the incant charge times 3, then it's shorter than heal. So why would I ever use heal? Instead, I would make sure that the incant for Holy Bolt is the same length in casting, same syllables as the heal spell itself. And I talked to a friend who helped me, a Beltline friend, who helped me get a incant kind of thought up. And this idea, I want you to know, is not originally from me. This is an idea that I also got from a friend and that healers have been asking for a while, and this was a great way to implement it. Now for Wizard, there's a nerf and a buff that needs to kind of be added. The buff's not really that much of a buff, but the nerf is really necessary for smaller fields. Wizards on smaller fields, let's say you have 5 people on one side, 5 people on another side, they can go Icy Blast Shatter combo. Okay, very powerful in that instance because they take out 1 or 2 people from the enemy team. You're now facing 3 people versus 4. And if it's 3 people versus 4 for the entire team, I'm just counting the wizard because they're probably just Icy Blast Shattering and that's it. Then if you have 3 versus 4, the 4 should eventually win, especially if the 2 that are taken out are the 2 best people, because the wizard's going to take out the 2 best people. So you have 4 people versus the weaker 3 of the 5. That's pretty broken. That's really ridiculous, and it destroys small fields. That's why people have complained that, oh, wizards are extremely overpowered, Icy Blast Shatter. And yes, in a small field setting, it is. It really is. But in a giant battle game, it also is weaker, and I actually laugh at those wizards because, especially like Battle Mage Warlock wizards, is also pretty funny. But or just Battle Mage wizards in general on a big battlefield, they run out of spells. They suffer the repercussions of making this build where they're powerful, but they're weak as well. They don't have frequency. They don't have a lot of spells, and there's repercussions there. But for small fields, they're gods. That's why we need to help small fields here. We need to make kill spells, Dimensional Rift, because this is what they'll do. If Icy Blast Shatter is gone, then they'll go to different spells. We need to make Dimensional Rift. We need to make Shatter, right below, and Icy Blast, because you could just freeze everyone or just freeze 2 people consistently for the entire time, which kind of does the same thing as Icy Blast Shatter anyway. You need to have those 4 spells be max 2. It still allows them to do what they want, but you're thinking, Wizo, it doesn't solve the problem because we're just going to get innates. That's why I suggest to have a max of 4 innates. Now, this still allows you to spec heavily into those builds. You could still say Icy Blast, Shatter, innate, and have 12 of your points sunk into this, but it doesn't make it so that for the entire game, at key moments in the game for sure, but it makes it so that you can't, for the entire game on a small battlefield, just choose how you're going to win. It doesn't break the game, it helps it. And it also encourages wizards to actually branch out and get more versatility in their spells, which is the strength of a wizard. So this would help balance small fields and make it so that wizards are not godly overpowered, because they actually aren't when applied in the right setting. It's just on a small field, they kind of are. Now, for wizards, they kind of get shafted in the archetypes, in all honesty. They're pretty much the only class, actually thinking about it, that your archetype says, no, you can't take that other part. Everyone else is just, oh, we double the cost. We double the cost of equipment. We double the cost of enchantments. We double the cost of this. Pretty much nothing else just says no to half of your spell list. Wizards do. Battle Mage says no to spell balls. You have Evoker who says no to verbals greater than range of touch. I mean, you're saying no to like half the wizard's spells. So instead of saying no, change it to doubles the cost. Now, this is still pretty pricey. And as a wizard, I'd look at that and say, so you're saying I shouldn't take these spells, and I'm not going to, personally, for cost efficiency. But it still allows the option, not a very good option, but it allows the option to mix and match things. It can make it so that if you're a battle mage, you could still go out there and you could be like, well, I have a fireball for shields, because that's a problem. Or if you go out there as an evoker, you can go out there with a dispel magic and say, well, I could still deal with that at least. And it allows some options for a cost. Don't get me wrong. It's pretty harsh, and you need every point that you can as a spellcaster. But when you look at every other class, it's fair, allows more creativity, allows more options, and it's just not as ruthless as it kind of is for a no. And with the addition that you can only take so many of these kill spells and so many innates, it makes it so that wizards can't just lean heavily into, let's say, hey, I'm a battle mage with just a bunch of Icy Blast Shatter, and guess what? I'm going to just Icy Blast Shatter the two best people on their team so we can win. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about that problem. And this makes wizards have more options as well as being more balanced on small fields. Now, those are my general thoughts on V9 for each class that needs to be changed and the general ideology of how we should go about V9. There are, of course, some things that can be tweaked here and there, and I would love to talk to the Rules Committee if they'd actually have me or listen to me or anything like that. That would be great. The whole idea of this video is so that I get my ideas out there. Hopefully I help V9 or help the people who are making the Rules Committee help improve the game of Amtgard so that it becomes better. And I would love to hear your thoughts too. Some people's thoughts that I've heard have been a little enthusiastic, and I mean that in a positive and negative way. You can be enthusiastic about something, but I myself personally have dealt with a lot of systems. I'm the one who breaks systems, who looks at rules. I actually have made a few other games in the past. I understand kind of how they work, and I'm coming at this from that perspective. I'm not coming at it from the perspective of, oh, I just like to see this. We need to keep the game balanced. We need to promote more options, and we need to have more fun. Now, with that, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments section down below and what we can do to help improve Amtgard. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and keep LARPing.